Are you looking for the best email marketing software right now? We've tried and tested the leading email services, and in this video, I'm going to share our top picks for email marketing automation platforms that will grow your email list and your business. If you're here, then you'll know that there's a ton of options out there, and it really is a tough job to assess them all. But when you do, it's kind of funny how most make the exact same promises and list the same features on their websites. But when it gets down to actually using them, you quickly find some pretty big flaws or weaknesses that you'd never read about on a sales page. So we've spent countless hours testing the leading options again recently, and in the past we've actually run our entire business on 7 of the leading platforms, including another switch last year. Yep, that means a whole lot of fun migrating. But with so many options, there's always going to be specific platforms that end up great for very niche users. But that's not what this video is about. I'm going to share with you the best options that we've found that cover the vast majority of likely users. So let's dive in and run through each one of them one at a time and who each is best for. So we'll start with the best email platform for those that are the least technical and don't want to get caught up with more complex systems or processes, and work our way up to the best option for the most technical power users. Now, if you're already using an email marketing platform, let me know what it is and your thoughts down in the comments. So option number 1 is Convertkit. Convertkit is really easy to use. It's got a really simple, really intuitive interface, and it's something that as a beginner, you can jump in, you can figure out where everything is and how it all works really, really quickly. It's probably the easiest email marketing software for someone to learn. So this is what you'll see when you first sign in. You can see the overall interface. It's clean, it's simple. You can see your total numbers of subscribers as they're coming in over the past 7 days, 30 days, and your total. You can see things like your open rates, click-through rates, all just readily accessible here on this main page. You can also see how easy it is to use and how you can navigate through all the different areas and access everything really, really simply. Now, to create an email broadcast, there is no drag and drop editor here in Convertkit, but there are a few email templates that you can use with very minimal customization. So not as many to choose from and not as much customization as some of the other options coming up. But because there's not a lot of options, you can build out basic emails insanely quickly. And this editor is really easy to use. But you'll see a little later on that it is missing a lot of really cool features and tools that other software offer. To send out groups of email or email sequences, the sequence builder in here is really, really powerful. And again, it's easy to use. One of the cool features is that you can actually edit the text from within the sequence builder itself. And this makes it much easier to jump between the different emails without needing to close back out of everything and open up each email individually. Convertkit also supports some intuitive automations, and it's got a really simple automation builder in there too, which is great. It helps you understand what happens as a user moves through a workflow or an automation, and it supports pretty much all the basic options that most users need. So you can automate your email sequences themselves, you can add delays between the emails when they go out, and you can even automate the tagging element of this as well. And they categorize controls here down into events, actions, and conditions. So it's definitely not as advanced as the next 2 options, but there's still enough in here to help you build out some pretty powerful but basic automations. There's also basic landing pages built in, but there's not a drag and drop editor, just like the email builder, and there's very little customization here too. But there is enough in here to get the job done if you're just after something basic, like a basic landing page, and you want it up and running as fast as possible. So you can see there are a few templates in here that you can choose from, but if say we pick this one here, you'll see that we can't really customize this up much. We can change the picture, we can edit the text, we can add some extra fields and things in here, but we can't really move anything around and customize this up fully. For email subscriber segmentation, Convertkit relies heavily on tags, but also segments and custom fields. And for us, we're actually pretty wary on anything that leans heavily into tags, because you could end up with an absolute ton of tags and it can become really messy, hard to track and hard to use. So this again is fine if you're on the more basic end of things, but it can get pretty complicated and out of control if you're doing some more complex tasks. Convertkit does support A/B testing of your email subject lines, but it is very limited. You can only test one subject line and one variation. It doesn't support custom ratios, but it does send the highest performer out to the bulk of your list. I do love that it's actually included right here in the email builder and that you don't need to navigate out to some extra section of the website to enable this. So it does make it simple and something that you can easily run on your broadcasts. Convertkit's also got built-in e-commerce features that do integrate well with other Convertkit tools like sales pages, broadcasts, automations. So it's cool that these are built in, but you want to keep in mind that you are more restricted when using these instead of going with separate, more powerful third-party e-commerce apps. But this would be good enough for a basic digital product, an ebook, ebook, a free download, and there is a few different payment options and things in here too. So overall, it does have a lot less pro-level automations and a lot less control than the following options, but Convertkit is very purposeful in what they do. There's no bloat. There's probably a lot less potential overwhelm as well, given that there is less advanced control. But overall, it's easy to pick up. It offers some great basic automations that you can grow into, and you don't need to be someone who's super technical to get the most out of this. Now, in regards to pricing, they've got a free plan, which is free up to 1,000 subscribers, or there's a creator plan up from that, which unlocks the advanced email sequences and the visual automation builder, but it is a sliding scale. So this is currently for 300 email subscribers. If we bump this up to 1,000, you can see here that it's still free for up to 1,000 subscribers, but the price here jumps up to $25 per month, up to 1,000 subscribers for the creator plan. And to unlock all the features and things like advanced reporting, that's when you want to be on the Creator Pro plan. But if you're just starting out, the free plan here could be all you need, or the creator plan if you're looking for more automation. Now, the other good thing about pricing for Convertkit, but also the other options that we're going to cover here too, is that you'll only ever be charged once per identified user, unlike some of the other options. Looking at you, Mailchimp, that actually charge you multiple times for that one single user if they are on multiple lists. So this makes it so much easier for you to gauge your monthly spend and just pay for every subscriber once. The next option is ActiveCampaign, and this one is a step up from Convertkit in terms of what you can do in here and the automations and things that you can build out. So as you can see, it's also got a nice clean interface, but there's already a lot more going on in here, and that's because of these advanced features and controls and stuff that you get access to in here. So it is going to be a little more complicated than Convertkit. ActiveCampaign's got tons of email templates built in, and the drag and drop email builder offers a lot of customization while still being easy enough and fairly intuitive to use. Although it's definitely not as easy as Convertkit, and the process is actually longer to create an email than it is in Convertkit. There are some awesome tools in here to help you take your emails to the next level, like being able to hide content on mobile devices, yet have it show fine on desktop. Also some cool advanced stuff like conditional content and even custom merge tags. Now, there's no dedicated sequence builder like there is in Convertkit, so you do have to build out both the basic and the more advanced automations using the same automation builder. So this does make the basic automations take a little bit longer, but it does mean that you do have access to all the more powerful tools and stuff in there as well if you want to transition something from being basic to being more advanced at any time. But it's these advanced automations is where the power of ActiveCampaign really comes in. It supports everything that Convertkit can do, but it can get far more advanced. So at any point in your automation, you can hit this little plus button and you've got your list of actions here. These ones are around the sending options. Here's all your conditions and your workflows. So you can see you've already got so much more in here than something like Convertkit, or your contact actions and triggers, CRM-based ones. There's just so much more in here. Even the ability to integrate your website tracking and to track events and things like button clicks, all back to an individual ActiveCampaign user too. Once again, there is a landing page builder in here too, but this one is incredibly customizable. It's got a drag and drop interface, and it's got tons of templates in here that you can use and customize up, which is really the complete opposite of Convertkit. So you can see all of this is fully customizable. We can swap all of these things out. We can add new sections, new rows, new columns. There's a ton of stuff that we can literally just drag and drop in here. Now, for contact segmentation in ActiveCampaign, you can use lists, you can use tags and custom fields, all to segment your audience. But the big difference here is that you're relying more on lists rather than tags like Convertkit. So it can make your overall segmenting much cleaner and less clunky. And this obviously flows through to the automations and everything. It's much more streamlined when it's not all over the place. Now, ActiveCampaign has some awesome A/B split testing features built in that allow you to test the subject line, the sender's name, the email content, and even images for your broadcasts and sequences too. So much more advanced and more powerful than Convertkit's. You can even decide your own custom testing and sending ratios. Plus, you can even build out different split tests in the middle of your workflows as well. So you can send a certain amount of people down one pathway and a certain down the other, all in the middle of your automation. Now, ActiveCampaign doesn't have built-in e-commerce features like Convertkit, but the strengths that ActiveCampaign offers is really the integration with other e-commerce platforms, as well as the metrics metrics and the insights that it provides through its reporting. And again, with things like Convertkit's built-in e-commerce tools, you're generally a lot more locked into things like their billing, their subscriptions, and they're much harder to transition away if you ever need to. So this is where it's not really a downside that ActiveCampaign doesn't have this built in, because the integrations are so good and you're then able to use tools that are dedicated specifically for that, giving you much more flexibility and much more control. ActiveCampaign also has a built-in CRM as well, which is actually one of the most advanced customer management tools that we've seen baked into email marketing software. So it's going to let you manage your customers, to do things like track their history and all their interactions and everything all in there too. Now, in regards to pricing, there is no free plan with ActiveCampaign, but you can start out on their Lite plan for $29 a month, billed annually. And that gives you access to their email marketing and marketing automations and things like the site and event tracking. But moving up to the Plus plan for $49 a month, this is where you'll add in things like the landing pages and Facebook custom audiences and conditional content too. But then for things like tracking conversions and split testing your automations, that's when you want to jump up to the professional plan, $149 per month. But that'll only get you access to the email marketing side of things. If you want to access the sales and the CRM features, then you'll need to jump onto one of the sales plans, or you can get access to everything with one of the bundle plans here. So overall, there's a huge level of depth in ActiveCampaign. It is a platform that's definitely harder to use and to jump into, especially if you're more at the beginner side than something like Convertkit. But this is something that is going to give you more options if you grow, if you're someone who's likely going to want to build out more of those automations. Okay, so that brings us to option number 3, which is the most advanced, and this one is Bento. So Convertkit and ActiveCampaign, they've been our top 2 options for quite a while now. But now there is a third option for anyone who wants to get even more sophisticated than what's included in ActiveCampaign. So Bento is probably something that you might not have heard of yet, but it's also the one that we're currently using to run Primal Video. So it's really the new kid on the block, and it is something that is so much more powerful than any other software that we've come across. The flexibility is amazing, and it really takes everything to the next level and opens everything up. But along with that, it's also a totally different approach to email, and there's a lot more technical stuff in here, so it is going to resonate more for people that are on the more technical side of things. But I'm not saying that to scare anyone away here either. So the overall interface is easy to use, but the load times are so fast. But this is where it doesn't really get highlighted until you're jumping between these different apps. Something like Convertkit, it's pretty quick. ActiveCampaign, you're constantly seeing that little spinning circle because there's load times on everything. Then you jump into Bento, and again, it's just so snappy and fast, and it can save you a ton of time, but it can also save you headspace. It's way less frustrating to use. But there is so much cool stuff and really powerful things that are built in here, because again, Bento is really a fundamental rethink on how email should be delivered. So for example, they know that if you're sending bulk emails out, that triggering spam filters or algorithms can massively impact your deliverability, and that sending out a massive volume of emails is likely to raise some red flags. So there's this amazing feature in there that we haven't seen anywhere else that actually lets you batch send out a campaign over X amount of hours. So this way, it's much less likely to look like a bulk email send, so it's less likely to trigger any overzealous spam filters. So it's a really nice approach that we haven't seen done anywhere else. Another great example of an amazing feature that's built here into Bento is the built-in email filtering. And this happens at the time that someone opts in or joins your email list. It actually runs a search and it goes through and filters and looks for if that email address is included in any honeypots, any spam, or if there's anything incorrect with that email before it adds it to your list. So it's not waiting for you to send a broadcast and to find all of this stuff out afterwards. It's actually doing it at the time of opting in. So this can save you the pain of having this stuff on your list, broadcasting out and getting flagged and picked up as spam and hurting your deliverability by filtering out for this stuff right up front. And it also means by filtering these out, you're not going to be paying to have these things subscribed on your email list. There's also some really powerful ad and website tracking tools in here too, or to really help you map and refine your customer journey as someone finds you right through to where maybe they sign up or they purchase a product or a service that you offer. Now, in terms of the actual email builder, this is another area where Bento looks at things different. They haven't gone ahead and added a bunch of their own templates for you to choose from. Instead, they integrated one by Stripe, which is incredibly powerful and it has a ton of available templates that you can easily import in. So yes, it does mean that there's an extra step, but it also means that the visual editor is far better than pretty much every other email tool we've used. And it also means that you have access to over 1,000 free templates, more than with any other email marketing software. But also you can get custom ones made up too. So the email builder is really awesome to use, and it offers the same advanced tools as something like ActiveCampaign, but it's also less clunky, and it actually makes email creation more seamless and more fun. Now, just like Convertkit, Bento also has a built-in sequence builder for those basic email automations. So this is an awesome tool that can save you a ton of time, and you can also easily duplicate your sequences for repeat things such as a product launch. You can literally hit a button and it will go through and automate and set up all of your emails for you based on the time periods that you've added between each of the emails. So this is something that for us, when we've got intakes into our accelerator program and we're running through, say, a webinar style intake, we can literally hit this button. It's going to go ahead and schedule all of those emails for us. But there's the advanced automations where this gets really powerful. But fair warning, this is not for beginners. So while other email marketing software give you pre-selected options for you to choose from, when we're looking at things like triggers or events, Bento has actually stripped out a lot of those UI elements, like being able to select something specific from a list like you could in ActiveCampaign or even Convertkit. And this completely opens it up and it allows users to create their own entirely custom events and criteria for those events. And this means that you can create pretty much any event trigger, a workflow, and perform almost any event that you want inside of that workflow. Now, while this sounds complex and a little scary, it is something you can definitely get your head around. And the upside is you get a ton of flexibility and you can get really granular with the way that you're building things out. So yeah, one of the downsides with this then could be that you're looking at this interface and you don't know where to start because it is that clean slate or that empty canvas. And sometimes for those simpler tasks, it could take a little bit more thinking than it might in something like ActiveCampaign or Convertkit, where you've really got those presets or those templates there good to go. But again, it's this fundamental rethink and really this clean canvas that you can build out really powerful automations in here without a lot of the limitations and frustrations that you would have in other tools. Now in Bento, there's also no landing page builder, but it's not really a surprise given that Bento really centers everything around flexibility, and they really wouldn't want to introduce a built-in feature that hinders that flexibility. But instead, they provide great site tracking tools, so you can go ahead and you can build out your own landing pages in WordPress or Webflow and have that full integration and everything back to Bento. And this is where, again, they are leaning towards the people who are more advanced with this stuff, that are looking to run a custom website, not just an off-the-shelf template-based one. They've also got a really impressive form builder built in, again, unlike nothing we've seen before in another tool like this. It's kind of close to something like Typeform with customizable logic that you can build out without needing another SaaS tool to do it. Now you can do A/B split testing in here, but it is currently more of a DIY option, which right now feels like more of a version 1 of this tool that will likely be built out over time. So at this point, ActiveCampaign's out-of-the-box A/B testing features are more powerful with less setup required. Now in Bento, you can use tags, you can use custom fields, segments, or even events as a way of segmenting your audience and determining which emails they receive. Now we're generally pretty wary of any email marketing software that doesn't use lists, as it can result in having to rely purely on tags, which can get messy very quickly. But Bento doesn't rely on tags. It might be one of the only email marketing platforms where you don't need to rely on lists or tags. You've actually got a large variety of options. For example, instead of adding a tag, you might trigger an event to store a status or an update inside of a custom field, building out your workflow this way instead. So this is a much neater way to segment your contacts. Now when it comes to e-commerce, this is something that ActiveCampaign and Bento, they really take a similar approach here. Instead of having their own built-in e-commerce store and functionality, instead they've built out some really powerful tools and really powerful integrations that allow you to automate, to analyze, and to grow your e-commerce business without having it all built in and locking you in to one ecosystem. And again, they're more so targeting the people that are looking to customize stuff up, people that are more on the technical side of things, that aren't looking for an all-in-one off-the-shelf solution. But overall, honestly, the number of just really nice features in there is insane. And this is where we're also just stumbling across new stuff all the time in the Discord server that they have, just seeing responses to questions and things that other people have asked. There is so much in there, and they're constantly shipping new stuff that actually gets us excited to implement or to do or to try something new. But on top of that, probably the biggest killer feature with Bento is its support. You can actually jump into their Discord and you can chat with the founder, Jesse, who is awesome. and the support is incredible. And while I'm sure that they wouldn't promise a set response time, in our experience, we've always had our questions resolved within a few hours. We've also made multiple feature suggestions in their Discord, and we've had several of them built out and shipped within a day or two. So it's really not like anything that we've experienced before. And then if there's anything urgent, like you're in the middle of a product launch, the support for us has been second to none. Now, by contrast, we've previously had issues during a product launch when we were using ActiveCampaign, where we've had to wait for the regular 7-day turnaround for them to get things sorted, which that's the last thing that you want to do when you're doing something time critical like a product launch. Now, in regards to pricing, Bento say they got simple pricing, no hidden fees, no surprises, and again, it's a sliding scale system. There is no free plan with Bento, and the minimum monthly spend is $30, which will actually unlock 3,000 users. And then it works out as 1 cent per user above that. But no matter which plan you're on here, Bento actually doesn't gate or restrict any of your features. Even starting out on the 1,000 plan, you're gonna get access to the exact same features as you will on the 10,000 or 100,000 plan. So no matter how much you're paying, you're gonna have access to every feature in here. And the amount that you're paying is just gonna be dependent on how big your list is. So Bento is the best option if you're someone who geeks out on this stuff and wants maximum power, maximum flexibility. I would definitely recommend this to anyone who is more technically minded, someone who wants that clean canvas where almost anything is possible, and you don't want to limit yourself or your creativity and what you can actually do and what you can build out in there. Plus, you've got access to some really innovative features with our whole new approach to email that we've barely scratched the surface on here. Now, if that doesn't sound like you, then maybe ActiveCampaign or Convertkit might be the way to go. But Bento is really for people that appreciate the ability to do more complex stuff, that aren't afraid to get technical, people that want to really get in and start testing the boundaries of the software they're in. But overall, which is the best email marketing software? If you're someone who just wants something that will get the job done really quickly and easily, and you're not interested in anything that's overly complex, and you want to be able to just dive right in with a very little learning curve, then Convertkit is likely going to be the best one for you. If you're someone who's looking for something with a ton more customization and some advanced automations and plenty of room to grow and scale, and you're someone who's happy to spend a bit of time learning and figuring out how to use it, then ActiveCampaign could be the best fit. Or if you're someone who is more technically minded, someone who wants that clean canvas where almost anything is possible, and again, someone who wants access to some of those really cool new innovative features, someone who isn't afraid to get more technical, or someone who's hitting the limits in software like ActiveCampaign, then Bento could be the one for you. Regardless of which one you pick, if you want to learn strategies to grow your email list organically off the back of your YouTube channel, like we do, then check out the link on screen where you can access our free email list growth workshop. I'll see you in there.